Hello, I'm going live today to talk about how, in very recent times, like the other day, I used social media to validate my sense of self-worth and how a lot of these habits, a lot of these things that I use that I have used as a crutch have not really been serving me for the long term. And I want to talk more about that, and I want to talk about something that I'm learning in my program that I am taking. It's all about manifestation. It's all about clearing things and bringing things from the subconscious to our conscious mind to be able to be aware of those things and to clear and release them and release what is no longer serving you, basically. So, in the most recent teaching, she talks about the reticular activating system, which sounds super scientific, and it's something that all of us have, and it's basically how each of us interprets our reality and creates this internal representation of how we experience the world, basically. And how we do that is through these internal subconscious filters. And basically, I want to share about how I was using social media to validate my worth the other day, completely unconsciously, without my awareness, until it had to get so bad that I needed to change something. Something needed to happen in order for me to be like, okay, this is not working for me. So I wanted to talk about that and how many other things came up for that, and how my internal subconscious filters, which include my beliefs, my values, my identity, memory, past decisions, language, mood, location, and time, how all of those things have a huge impact on how we interpret our reality in literally every single second of the day, in every single moment. So, the other day, this was not yesterday, but the day before, I was having, honestly, a really wonderful day. It was a normal day, honestly, better than normal, but the way that I use my phone has been the new normal. And how I use my phone, for more context, is whenever I'm feeling a lull or I'm feeling bored and I'm like, I need some sort of hit of some sort of dopamine or whatever happy hormones the phone and social media can give you, that's exactly what I do. And because my phone is like within an arm's length away, whenever there's a lull, whenever I'm watching TV and there's like an advertisement, whenever I'm feeling bored and I'm just like, I'll just go for my phone. And it's interesting because what I've been using to cope with my boredom has changed. Before, it was a lot of like this, smoking the ganj, and then it was a lot of TV, and this is not to judge anybody, this is just how my coping mechanisms have changed throughout time. So it would go from marijuana to watching TV. Sometimes I play solitaire when I feel lull, but oftentimes it's my phone. It's just so easy to look at, and it's so easy to go on Instagram and YouTube. Those are my primary uses. And YouTube Reels, they're 60 seconds or shorter, so it's like so easy to just go and look and look. And whenever there's a lull, whenever there's a 60-second commercial on my TV, I will look on there, and it's too easy, you know what I mean? And another thing, and this is something that I thought that I got over, because I post a lot on social media, I usually don't really, in my conscious awareness, care about the numbers. You know, the reason that I'm posting aren't to receive external validation. The reason that I create videos isn't to receive a stamp of approval from other people. But when I'm feeling a lull, especially around like nighttime, and I'm feeling boredom, and my ego and my brain just wants to feel good and wants to have like a quick fix, right? And I feel like the phone for me has been utilized in that way as a quick fix. And that is like also looking at the numbers on social media, and that includes view counts on my videos and likes and comments. And I will look on Instagram, I'll look on TikTok, I'll look on Facebook. And this is something that I've felt like I've already had to learn. Sometimes lessons just need to keep coming up in order for us to really like hold on to them and be like, okay, I get it now, it's important, I gotta do what you gotta do, right? But this is one of those lessons that just keeps coming up for me. And I look, and for some reason I place more value on the validation. At least in the past, I've placed more value, and when I say past, really recently. I've placed a lot of value on Instagram over any other social media platform. That's probably because I feel, I don't know, I've always placed Instagram at the top of importance, right? So the other day, I was looking on my videos, and I looked at the one that I recently posted, one that I was kind of nervous to share about, because I don't want to come from this place of like, I'm a victim to my circumstances. And I feel that, and I also don't want to hurt my family, because I do talk about my family and I do talk about my relationships with my family, because I feel like that's a huge part of my journey and has been a huge reason why I do what I do. And I'm always nervous to post about things like that. So basically I go on Instagram, I'm looking at all the other social medias too, to try to give me that quick fix. Thank you so much. I appreciate you too. So for that quick fix, I'll look on Instagram and those things. And I look on Instagram and I look at that video, and usually my views have like, this is me being super transparent, they usually have like 200 plus views. And then I look at this one, looking for that quick fix to feel better in a quick instant, and it has 4 views. 4 views, and my ego, my brain is going crazy, and it's like, oh no. There are so many different, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, there are so many different internal subconscious filters that are interpreting this information and are creating my reality and creating my internal reality. And there is so much self-doubt, there's so much insecurity that comes up, and just feeling like shit. I was already feeling bored and already feeling a lull, and then I look to get a quick fix, and then I feel even worse. And honestly, the feelings that I get from my phone and from looking for those quick fixes are super fleeting. So that's kind of how it feels for me anyway. But this was kind of a new experience, because it's like, oh wow, this is affecting my whole reality right now. I was having an amazing day with my partner, and then within a moment I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at this validation, and I'm interpreting it as so many things, and I'm going to get into those interpretations and what my internal subconscious filters are telling me, because it's a lot. And it's a lot that I have been unaware of as well. This is something that I'm just learning about. I'm not an expert on it at all, but this is just something that's been super helpful, and this will be helpful for me to integrate, and hopefully will help you to share as well. So fast forward a few minutes later, my partner is feeding our cats, and he places the bowl of the cat food in a way that I would never place it. Something so silly, and I am taking my frustration out on him, and he usually doesn't say anything, but he says, I don't appreciate the way that you just talked to me. It was a little mean. And I was already feeling terrible. I felt even worse. And I was like, damn it. I'm really allowing this to affect me, and I'm allowing this to affect my partner. And I really needed to do some soul searching, and one of the ways that I do that is by journaling. I absolutely love journaling, and I was journaling a lot, trying to see where the root of all of this comes from and the root of why I care so much about what is going on social media. So, I'm going to go down the list of the different internal subconscious filters that my brain has that is interpreting my reality, and all of us have these. They're all different though, and that's what makes all of our realities so completely different. So what happens this is going to sound super scientific, and it's not to overwhelm you. It's called the reticular activating system. It's something that each of us has in our brain that interprets all of the outside activity so that we can create meaning and we have perception of what's going on in our reality, because there's so much that's flowing in. So, an external event happens. I'm looking at my phone, and there's obviously a lot going on, and there's 2.3 million bits of information being processed per second. And what happens is our little filters inside of our mind, they filter it to about 128 bits of information per second. So it goes from 2.3 million bits per second to 128. So really generalizes, distorts, and deletes information that is either important or unimportant to us. So I'm going to go down the list. Beliefs is the first one. What do I believe that is making this 4 count on my video so important to me? Why is this such an important thing to me? And I believe it's a huge part of it is because in my mind, numbers have been so important for my whole entire life. My numbers, ever since I started getting grades in school, validated my self-worth. My father had really high expectations of me. So high. He would ask me if anything was an A- or less, what happened? Like, what's going on here? Why isn't that an A? And A's and A+ were good, and anything less than an A- was terrible. And it was just really high expectations. My self-worth was dependent on the numbers that I received from my school. It was dependent on numbers, either being accepted/approved or rejected by my dad was dependent on numbers, and numbers being high. And then that turned into, grades in college as well, and I would internalize that stuff. And also how much money I make a year would be dependent. My self-worth would be dependent on how much money I make a year. Obviously, high numbers are better. And that's what I've been programmed to believe, is that high numbers are better. And that if I have low numbers, I am a failure. I believe that that's like the root of it, is how when I looked at that view count, I felt like a fucking failure. And I was like, wow, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? And it really made me question everything. And I also want to say that in this live, I'm going to be sharing with you beliefs that I'm replacing with the old ones, because these beliefs that came up for me when I looked at this view count were not helpful. They're not going to help me on my mission to spreading my message. And feeling insecure and feeling lack of self-worth because of external validation and external information, it's not helpful for me, and it's not helpful for the world. So basically, I want to also share with you beliefs and things that I'm going to replace with the old ideas. So it's like, I know that validation and external approval is not important to me. It's not important because what is important, this is going to be a lot of information, so I'm just trying to process it. What is important to me is the message that I share, and that I have the courage and the bravery to share it. Because the whole point of it is just getting it out there and allowing it to live and allowing it to exist, and not allowing the insecurity and the self-doubt to get in the way of that. Okay, I'm not going to go through the list, but I am going to say what the internal subconscious filters are, and you can mix and match, and I'll try and mix and match myself. So what determines our reality and how we experience reality is our beliefs, our values, our identity, memory, past decisions, language, and tone, including tone, something I'm working on, mood, location, and time. So I'm gonna tell you what came up for me. Not only the high numbers came up for me, high numbers equals success, but also the fact that I already had such doubts about posting this video, right? It was almost as if my mind was focusing on the things that went wrong versus the things that went right, and I believe it's a common thing. And it's like, well, yes, I received 4 views on Instagram on that video. But on TikTok, of course, numbers don't matter, but I could be focusing on the higher numbers, right? On TikTok, it received the normal amount of views, like 200 or whatever. And Facebook, I didn't really see because it didn't show me. So it's like, I could be focusing on all the things that went right. The fact that I had the courage and the bravery to share my message. The fact that my why and my intentions are so fucking beautiful. To be able to help other people feel loved and seen and heard is amazing. To be able to look at all of the reasons why I am successful, that I'm living in my integrity, and that I feel motivated and I feel confident enough to share. There are so many millions of reasons why I could be looking at it in a positive way. But I'm focusing on, instead of focusing on the 99% of things that went right, I'm focusing on the 1% that went wrong. So that was a very important thing for me to realize, is where is my focus going? And why is it going there? And I believe that why it's going there is because I believe that I've been given so many reasons in my life to feel like a failure. It's like, there are so many reasons for me to feel like a failure. Other people pointed out, they've been pointed out my whole entire life, and I learned to point those out within myself, so that I'm carrying this stuff and I'm just looking for as many of the things that are going right. I'm focusing on the things that are going wrong, and that's just not serving me anymore. You know what I mean? So focusing on the things that are going right and focusing on my why and the reason that I'm doing it, my values, for instance, what I value the most is being able to help in any way that I can. Would it feel awesome to help a good, like, millions of people versus 4 people? Yeah, it would be awesome, right? But that's not necessarily what's happening. That's just what my brain is interpreting that information as. But the reason that I'm doing it is not for the numbers. If it was a popularity contest, I wouldn't be posting about the things that I'm posting about. I wouldn't be sharing about things that may trigger other people and may offend other people and may hell yeah. Embodied mindfulness said, I've been making the same shift in my life too, trying to focus on what I can celebrate rather than what I'm not doing. Absolutely. And that is so important, and it's a beautiful thing that you do that and are actively doing that and are conscious of it. I believe that awareness is the first thing in how we can really make those changes. But it's like, if my values are making the impact, sharing the message, having the bravery to share the message, regardless of how other people take it, the numbers don't really matter. There's so much going on in my mind right now. I'm trying to get it together. Also, another thing that's been coming up for me is perfection, and I believe we're talking about a similar thing, is this idea of being perfect. And to me, perfection is having all of your shit together. And I think that it's really unrealistic. And when I focus on perfection and I focus on having it all together, my mind is going to point out the things that are not perfect and not going my way and not going the way that I would like them to go. For example, some thoughts are coming up right now, like, you don't know what you're talking about. But it's like, yeah, I can focus on the things that are being embodied, that are being shared, that are lovable, and honestly, it's all lovable. I've given so much power unconsciously to this social media, right? To the numbers, that it determines my self-worth, and that's not what I value. I explained it so clearly in my journal, but hey, we're doing the best that we can. I appreciate all of y'all's patience. I also have so many words in front of me that it's like, this is helpful. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Another part of the filter was that around nighttime, I already feel a lull. Around nighttime, I'm already like, okay, I want to feel happier. I want to feel better right now in this moment. And that's another reason why I go to my phone, and it's so easy to just go to my phone. So that was another internal filter, is the time and the location of me. When there's an advertisement on the TV, I'll reach for my phone and I'll look for that short term hit that's gonna help me feel better. So basically, this has all come down to, a lot of it has come down to placing importance and looking on social media, as well as the habit that I have with my phone. Bottom line, the reason that I was looking on social media is because it was so easy to have access to my phone. I don't even think about it when I have my phone and I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking on social media. And I'm not thinking about whether this is helping me in the long term versus whether this is helping me in the short term. And because I'm looking for that short-term stimulation, that's what I'm gonna go for. And ultimately, it does feel like this very fleeting feeling. And like I said, I have had to learn this lesson so many times of placing so much importance on external validation and how other people perceive me and receiving other people's approval, when life has given me an opportunity to learn this lesson over and over and over again. And it's really just this fleeting feeling. It's the same exact feeling that I feel when I reach for social media and I am looking at, YouTube Reels, for instance, or YouTube Shorts. They're shorts. And these 60-second videos are just so easy to just look at one at a time. And short term, it feels good. Short term, a lot of them do feel good and it feels exciting in the moment. But at the end, I'm just like, damn, now what? Now what do I do? And this was another opportunity that came up for me with the validation that I receive on social media, which can be tricky because, okay, we're going to go back to the values part. It's tricky because my values on social media are to create content that helps other humans feel less alone, feel seen, heard, and loved for exactly who they are, to empower other people, to know that they're worthy of everything that they desire. But when I am unconsciously, subconsciously focusing on the numbers, my worth is at stake, my lovability is at stake, how I perceive myself and my self-worth is at stake, and my why and my integrity and why the hell I'm doing any of this in the first place. So I have decided to change a lot of things about the way that I use my phone, the way that I use social media, and I'm going to share with you those things now. So something that has been really helpful for me with my phone, the phone is like the gateway to social media and those things that I may have a little bit of an addiction to. I don't know about you, but I feel I have kind of an addictive personality. I have used different things to cope with boredom, to cope with sadness and feelings that I just don't want to feel, that I'm trying to get rid of and trying to bypass in a way. I don't want to feel this, so I'm going to try to do something else. And those things have included smoking weed, have included watching television, and definitely being on my phone. So it's about different things that I can use to cope with those uncomfortable feelings. And one of the ways that I have been actively choosing to treat my phone in a different way, because now it's this, my different addictions have translated to, okay, you have your phone, and now it's kind of an addiction with your phone. I'm probably downplaying it a little bit, but something that has really helped me is having my phone away from me beyond an arm's length, almost hiding it on myself and hiding it in places that I will forget about it, but I'll kind of remember where it is. And this allows me time to think about, okay, why am I reaching for my phone? What am I doing? What am I trying to fix? What am I trying to overlook? What's going on within me? And what is the reason that I'm using my phone for? Why am I going for my phone? Because when it's in my pocket or it's right next to me, there's not that time to think. There's not that time to have that introspection to be like, okay, why am I going for it? Why am I looking at it now? So that has been really helpful, is having it further than an arm's length away and hiding it on myself. Another thing has been, it's only been 2 days. I'm not some sort of professional, you know what I'm saying? But another thing has been waking up and not looking at my phone in the morning. Again, hiding it on myself the night prior and doing things that feel good for me, doing things that feel good to have done and that fill up my cup. So part of my little morning routine is waking up. I do this visualization and I also send a lot of gratitude to my body and to my mind. Unconditional love to my body and to my mind. And then I visualize the life that I wish to be living and visualize like what my ultimate goals are. Like me having an incredibly successful program, empowering other women, other humans to live a life that they fucking love and feel empowered about their situation, feel victors of their circumstance, victors, and feel unstoppable and feel so much hope within their lives that they share that and they create these massive ripples. So that's part of like what I visualize, and living in Hawaii and traveling the world and spoiling the shit out of my family and being able to give back in ways that have been a complete dream for me. I'll get into that stuff maybe at another time, but I have a lot of dreams, so that's kind of how I start my days, by visualizing those. And then I will make my bed, and then I will put on an outfit to go for a walk, stretch, meditate, things that feel good for me. And please, there's no comparison, there's no competition. We're all exactly where we're meant to be. This is just something that has helped me in being able to fill up my cup first thing in the morning, because I am extra, I don't know about you, but I'm extra vulnerable and extra sensitive in the morning to external events and outside stimuli, you know? So I did a lot of other things before I reached for my phone this morning. What else? I haven't done this yet, but there are ways that you can set timers on certain apps on your phone, at least on an iPhone, and be like, okay, I only want to spend an hour or 30 minutes on YouTube, and I only want to spend 30 minutes on Instagram a day. And then it'll give you a time's up, like, okay, your time's up. I used to do that, and then I would bypass it every single time, so it really didn't matter. But it's an option. What else am I doing? Another thing that I'm doing, because this is, I guess, for someone who creates a lot of content on their stuff, is I have another page. I have another Instagram page that I do not post on, but I have decided to use that for consuming other people's content. I do my best to limit my consumption. Creation is there; it's unlimited. I can spend all the time that I would like to do to create the content, but when it comes to consumption, it is important for me to limit that, because when there are no boundaries around that, it turns into this other addiction and this other coping mechanism that isn't helping me in the long term. So yes, using my other account to consume other people's stuff and limiting myself in that way. And when I go out, honestly, and I'm aware of it, I'm on a whole new journey right now. But when I'm aware of it, like yesterday, I left my phone at home because I really didn't need it. And it was wonderful. I honestly had such an amazing day yesterday, just being very present with myself and with my partner. And we were going on adventures and seeing new places and staring at the houses and staring at nature and really enjoying the moment, instead of me looking at different things to consume online. Hiding my phone, like I said, and asking myself and giving myself that space and that room to ask myself, why am I looking at my phone right now? Is there anything, and asking myself, is there anything I can do that will feel good to have done? It's called future pacing. It's when we do things in the short term that may be uncomfortable now, but we'll be happy that they got done. It's like going for a walk. This morning I didn't really feel like going for a walk, but I'm glad that I went for one. And I knew I would be glad I went on a walk. Like, I don't super feel like taking a shower, but I know I'll be glad that I took a shower after I post this, stuff like that. And really connecting to my why and connecting to the version that I wish to become and the person that I wish to become is very aware of how she is spending her time and enjoys being very present in the moment, and the phone is just not super helpful for that. It is an incredible tool. I effing love my phone. It's Catherine Zenkina says this, and she says it about money and things like that. It's an incredible tool, but it depends on how we use it, and whether I'm using that tool to help the world and help myself, or I'm using the tool in a harmful way that I may not even be aware of. So I hope this video made sense. I'm not gonna lie, I do feel a little insecure about it. It's not as clear as I would like it to have gone, but you know what? It's also really helpful for me to post this and to accept myself, because it's not about being perfect. It's about doing my best and knowing that that's enough, and knowing that I'm worthy regardless of whether I have my shit together or not. And it's funny because I feel like, at least in my life, perfection and the idea of perfection has been so important, and having all of your shit together. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. But in my life, it's like there's been so much importance based on perfection and having all of your... I'm receiving that so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. There's been so much importance placed on perfection and having all of your shit together, and it's just like, I don't think it's a realistic standard, and I truly think that it's an impossible standard. It's impossible. And me trying to live up to this standard of imperfection is just, I'm setting myself up to fail in a way. It's like, if it's not possible and it's never going to happen for me, then how is it going to help me? You know, and obviously I strive and I do my best to be a better version than I was yesterday. And I'm so determined to grow and expand and evolve, but also accepting myself that this is enough, and me sharing this is enough, even if it's a little jumbled and a little all over the place. It's still enough. I'm still enough. And that's, I guess, the whole point of this live, is that numbers and ways that we quantify ourselves. Another thing was, it's so easy for humans to be able to quantify themselves based on numbers. It's so easy to feel validated based on numbers because it's so quantifiable. You can compare numbers to each other and all these things, but there are a lot of other intangible ways that may be overlooked, like whether I'm embodying that person that I wish to be, whether I'm living up to the values that are so important to me, and whether I'm in alignment to the goals and the desires that I would like to create. You know, it's so much easier to look at the numbers and be like, okay, well, that was higher or lower than the day before. And it can be so easy, but something that I am doing now, and I will be actively doing, is asking myself why I'm going on social media as well, using my other accounts so that those numbers just pop up right as soon as you log on. If you post anything, you'll notice it. It just comes up, and it takes active effort to try to avoid looking at that stuff and being like, you know what, the numbers don't actually matter to me. another thing that I asked myself, now it's coming up for me. Now things are coming up. Another thing that was brought to my attention was that do I want to be acting differently when I have 10 million followers versus when I have 10 followers? Is that aligned to my goals? Should I be acting differently between these two? Whether I have 10 followers or 10 million followers. And it's like, I definitely don't want to be acting any differently. It's not necessarily within my, I value my integrity the most, and I value being able to say things that I do and mean what I say and embody what I talk about, all of this stuff. So it's like, I asked myself that question, would I be acting any different if I had more followers? And ideally I wouldn't. I'm sure that's different right now, but it's all about life is all about learning and practicing and doing our best each and every day, and my best keeps changing. But ideally I want to act like I have 10 million followers even if I have 10, and still embodying that energy even if the numbers don't accurately reflect that, and acting as if I'm already affecting and already impacting 10 million people. And honestly, I don't think that that's totally unrealistic. I believe that we actually are impacting millions of people. Each and every one of us are impacting millions of people. And our ripple is so unbelievable, like so unimaginable. If I say hi to someone, for example, and that's too specific, but each impact, we are impacting every single person that we ever meet. There's this universal law or scientific law or something that when an atom encounters another atom, they are intertwined forever. And that includes, we're a bunch of atoms. So every time that we meet someone, we are undeniably intertwined forever. And we have an impact on every single person we meet, every single person you encounter or see in the grocery store, going shopping, going for a walk, going to work, going to school, every single person. And then those people impact every single person that they meet. And those people impact every single person that they meet. So it's not unrealistic to believe that I and you are impacting millions of people, definitely through our lifetime. So it's like me being able to embody impacting and realizing and knowing that have an impact on tens of millions of people is really exciting. You could probably tell the difference in my energy throughout this video as soon as I started talking about impacting tens of millions of people. Did my follower count change? No. Did the numbers change? Probably not. But it's about embodying that energy of what I wish to become, and that's what's most important. And I do not need to check those numbers to confirm whether I'm impacting millions of people or not, because I already know that I am. Already know that you are, especially if you're someone that shares content and may believe that you are insignificant. We are so much more powerful than we've been made to believe. And I'm telling you, how you are showing up in the world really does matter. And you're creating unbelievable impacts and ripples that would be impossible to trace. And your existence really fucking matters. It really, really matters. And you just are so much more loved than you can possibly imagine, and so much more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Even me, I'm more powerful than I can possibly imagine. But a lot of these obstacles, I'm so grateful that I can't begin to explain how grateful I am that number 4 popped up on that video. I am so blessed and so grateful for that opportunity. Was it hella uncomfortable to face that within myself and to be able to sit with that discomfort and be like, ew, what's going on? Like, why am I feeling so shitty? Why do I feel like a failure based on this number that's on my video that might not even be accurate, that is in this specific time and place? Why is that having such a profound effect on me? You know what I'm saying? And being able to ask myself these questions, why? Where is this coming from? What are these internal subconscious filters coming from that are making me believe and have so much focus, have so much importance on those numbers? Numbers are not a determining quality of whether we are worthy or not. Absolutely not. We just are worthy, always have been, always will be. I am just as worthy as if these videos and my account goes viral or I have 2 followers. The worthiness is the same. But I believe that it can be super easy for me to focus on the numbers because it's such a tangible, quantifiable thing. It's such a comparable thing to one or the other, you know? It's like, but I don't want my mood, I don't want my self-worth, I don't want the way that I'm feeling inside to be dependent on whether that number increases or decreases for whatever freaking reason. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that I'm working on. I'm absolutely a work in progress. I do not have my shit all together. I don't. And it's also okay to not have your shit all together. I think it's actually impossible to. And all we can do is our best. And knowing that our best is enough and that you're enough in this moment and every single moment is really what matters. And I am my best, and I was doing an amazing job even when I looked at that view count of 4. Like, she was just as worthy as she is now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm really glad that came up, and it gave me a lot of things to think about and to question and be like, what's going on in here? What is going on that's below the surface that I'm not necessarily aware of? You know what I mean? Because a lot of these things, they are unconscious, and our unconscious / subconscious, I'm going to use them as the same. I don't know the difference, honestly. But our subconscious filters and our subconscious mind determines 95% of our reality versus our conscious mind only determines 5%. So basically in this program that I'm learning, and I'm really excited to embody these practices and share them in my own program, is to bring up these things that are outside of our awareness so that we can actively change and choose something different. Because what is not in our awareness, there's no chance of it being changed because we're not aware of it. But when they come up to the surface, just like those feelings and those ideas and beliefs and values that came up when I looked at that 4, that was when I was able to really bring those things to the surface and be like, okay, this isn't serving me. I need to figure out why it's not serving me. What's the root of all of this stuff? And how can I change it? And how can I replace those beliefs with ones that actually serve me and that are in alignment to the person that I wish to become, the change that I wish to be and see, and all of that stuff. I hope this was really helpful. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Of course, I love you. The numbers, me doing my best to be neutral with the numbers is important as well. It's something that's coming up for me. I even wrote down how wonderful it would feel if I was completely oblivious to going viral, right? Would it be awesome to go viral? Would it be awesome to impact as many humans as I possibly can? Absolutely. But it's not what determines my self-worth. It's not what determines my success. My success is that I have the courage and the bravery to do this in the first place, and that I continue to grow and I continue to evolve, and that I'm doing the best that I can. Honestly, success is doing the best that you can, and that's what we're doing all the time. So it's like, we're already effing successful. Let's do it. We're doing it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just because it's easy to quantify with numbers doesn't mean that they're a representation of our love, or of how worthy we are. I believe that that's what I was trying to say. Okay. So Embodied Mindfulness said, can you please share what you visualize each morning? Working on that as well. Okay,